I just wanted to welcome you all to the Business Support Hub webinar that we're doing today. Today I have with me a panel of experts from our team here at the Chamber. And we're going to be talking to each of them shortly, and they're going to give a brief description about what their role is within the Chamber and about what we're doing around COVID, and then afterwards we're going to have a quick Q&A. You'll notice at the bottom of the screen, for those of you that have never used the webinar function before, you will see two options of a Q&A and a chat function. So throughout the webinar today, you will be able to chat to myself whilst the experts are talking, but more importantly, the Q&A as well at the bottom of the screen. That's where you can ask any questions at the end of all the presentations. What I would say is, if you are looking to do questions today, if you could just put who the question is directed at, just so it makes it nice and easy for our experts to know which question is directed where, that'd be absolutely fantastic. Brilliant. Let's just unshare my screen so you can get a good look at everybody else. Fantastic. So, and for those of you, you should be able to see everybody's faces. If you can't see everybody's faces, at the top right-hand corner of your screen, you should be able to change the view to sort of suit your what you would like to see. So you can either see all of us, or you can just see the person that's talking at the moment, which is myself. So first of all, we're going to speak to Tom Nadin from the mentoring team, and he's just going to give us a quick update about what the Chamber is doing within the mentoring team. Over to you, Tom.
Thank you, Laura. So, good afternoon. So as everybody said, my name is Tom Nadin, and I'm the project manager for this Chamber's Let's Do Mentoring programme. So I hope you're all doing all well and kind of coping with working from home and things like that. I just want to give you a bit of an insight of the Let's Do Mentoring programme and how we might be able to support you and your business at the moment. So Let's Do Mentoring programme provides mentoring, obviously, across Circumtrent and Staffordshire to businesses who might have a specific need or challenge that they would like guidance or advice to overcome. So during these difficult times, it could be issues such as finance and cash flow, general business support and advice, planning and risk management, or other areas such as kind of marketing, how to kind of market during these difficult kind of areas that we've got, and things like margins and maybe even staff challenges that you might be facing. So there's no cost to the service, but the mentors are not there to kind of do all the work for you. They are not consultants. They are there to be acting as a sounding board for you to bounce ideas off and to give kind of guidance and advice to help point you in the right direction, really. So they're not there to make the decisions for you. So to give you a little bit of insight into kind of the mentors and the programs we've got. So we've got over 100 experienced mentors, and these are either current business leaders, so they're currently running their own businesses, or kind of senior leaders within their businesses, or they are ex-business leaders, so they are kind of either retired or are kind of taking steps back to kind of see kind of how they can support. But they tend to be experts in their field or have significant business experience. So they've all agreed to provide their time and expertise, so free of charge. So there's no cost to you kind of as a business to access the scheme. And it's all about them giving back to the Staffordshire business community, which during these kind of tough times that we're going through, is kind of really worthwhile, and kind of they're kind of getting really busy and kind of giving kind of a lot back to the local community. So obviously during the kind of the times of isolation that we're in, we're conducting the mentoring sessions over the phone or by virtual means such as Zoom, Microsoft Teams, Skype, however kind of you would best access it. And our mentors have stated that during this time that they are willing to help a business with any issue that they might have. So it might actually be that you only need 30 minutes kind of consultation with one of our mentors over the phone, through to a chat with maybe somebody every week as you're overcoming a specific issue, challenge, problem, so you could have that support for the foreseeable future. So if you are interested in the mentoring scheme, again, and how it can support you during these times of the coronavirus, then ask me a question or get in touch with me kind of after this kind of session, and we'll see how we can support. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Tom. Matt, if you'd like to do the next slot.
Hello everybody. So yeah, anybody that already knows me, I'm Matt Husfit, and my normal day job is looking after access to finance and funding for the SMEs across Staffordshire through the Chamber, but also through the work that we're doing on the Growth Hub. So as you can imagine, with the crisis as it is at the moment, a lot of businesses are still asking us for support on access to finance and funding, and it has, fair to say, become the hot potato. Unprecedented times calls for unprecedented action, and the government have thrown out a lot of different support topics and schemes to help individual businesses. Some that you will be eligible for, some that you won't be eligible for, but they feel that they've done a fairly rounded and comprehensive package of the support that's available. So it's just my slot today. It's just going to give you some ideas to the headlines of some of the more popular ones or the common ones, just to make sure that you're aware of them and that you're looking out and getting the detail that you need. Obviously, following on after the seminar and any time over the next few weeks, if anybody wants to speak to me one-to-one, we can do. We can talk about your individual personal circumstances in a private session. So, first thing I would always say is speak to your bank. Keep your main bank, who look after your business banking, up to date with everything that you're doing. They will primarily want to help and support you through these times. They will have restrictions as to what they can do and what they can't do, but it's worth keeping in touch with them for your short-term cash flow needs. Saying that, a lot of the banks now, whoever you go to, they're all going to be asking you for financial projections and business plans as to how you're going to trade through this period and get through the other side, which is easy for me to say, but as long as you've got something down on paper that you think is realistic, they will obviously consider that for you. Time to pay. So HMRC are giving you pretty much time to pay for anything. I would suggest that even if you feel comfortable with your current cash in bank, I would suggest that you take them up on that offer anyway, just to give you that additional cash flow certainty, because we don't know how long this process is going to go on for. With VAT and tax, I believe that HMRC are doing it automatically, so you do not need to apply for any time to pay. If you're paying by direct debit, however, you do need to cancel that, otherwise they will continue to take it by direct debit. So whilst you've got time to pay on the VAT and tax, you still need to bear in mind, I believe that you still have to do your VAT returns. It's just the payment of the VAT that you're getting time to pay. Over to the grant side of things. So there's a couple of grants that the government have announced. There's first of all the small grant, and this quite simply, if you qualify for small business rate relief or rural rate relief, you can qualify for a grant of £10,000. No need to apply again. Your local authorities are managing this and they will write to you if eligible. We think this is going to be early April that they're going to get out to you. So again, you don't need to do anything. They should be in touch with you shortly. We have had some questions, or a lot of our questions around this is if you're in a shared business premises or if you're in a tenanted property where you're paying the landlord rent and rates together in one payment, do you qualify? You'd have to check with the local authority. We think it's only the registered business that's paying the rates that will then qualify for that grant, but check with your local authority. If you operate in the retail, hospitality or leisure sector, you have further support. So if your rateable value is less than £15,000 a year, again, you can access the grant for £10,000. But in addition to that, if your rateable value is between 15 and 51, there's a slightly higher grant of 25,000 that's available, but only for the retail, hospitality and leisure sector. Again, no action needed. Local authority will write to you and get that sorted. Again, we're being told early April the same. Nursery businesses, so childcare nurseries rather than flower nurseries, there is a rate holiday that you can get as well from your business rates. A lot of questions at the moment about the Coronavirus Business Interruption Loan Scheme, which is more commonly known as CBILS. So this is kind of a repurposing of what used to be the EFG, the Enterprise Finance Guarantee Loan. So really useful for short-term cash flow. Your majority of the high street banks have access to this funding. And again, we would always recommend that they are your first point of call if you want to look at these loan funds. In a nutshell, there's up to £5 million available over a 6-year term. It is a loan, it's not a grant. And the key thing, and again, a lot of questions that we're getting is, yes, the government do support it with guarantees to the lender, but you are still 100% liable for the debt that you take. The government just gives that additional level of security to the lender. So be prepared that they will still ask you for personal guarantees or some form of security. The other key thing to remember is if you're looking at that and the lender or your bank would give you the money anyway, they won't put you through the CBILS scheme. You just have to do it on normal commercial terms. Again, speak to your main bank first. If they say no, there is nothing stopping you from looking at one of the other providers that operates that scheme. You go onto the British Business Bank website, under the CBILS, it gives you a list of over 40 providers that can help you with accessing that funding. If you want to speak to me about that further, obviously you can do. And then finally, the hot topic which came out last night is the support for self-employed. 80% grant. There's a lot of eligibility here, and we do have a fact sheet that we can send you out. However, our fact sheet is similar to what advice is being given across on the gov.uk website, so we'd always recommend you look at that. Basically, if you're self-employed or a partner in a business, and that is your main source of income, you must have submitted your 18-19 tax return, you must have traded in the 19-20 tax year, and you must currently still be trading, or would be if it wasn't for the virus, to then qualify for that. Again, a hot topic about that is you've got to be less than 50,000 in profits. Again, we're being told that HMRC will identify the eligible businesses from your the eligible people from the 18-19 tax returns, and they will contact you directly. You will be asked to apply online and provide certain details. They are concerned about scams or the potential for email scams here. They're not going to ask you to click on any links through emails. It will be done through a portal. So if you see any emails asking you to click in and put bank details in, just be wary of that. Unfortunately, the downside to this one is they're telling us because of the work involved, it's going to be early June. So we potentially need to look at cash flow support up until that time. If you do not qualify for the self-employed support, they are suggesting that you could still look at the CBILS loans, the deferment of the tax payments, and finally then your kind of universal credit registration. As Tom said, here to help. We will take calls anytime we can help you with, and get in touch if you need me. Thank you.
Brilliant, fantastic. Joe, if you want to go next.
Yeah, hi, I've just unmuted myself, so I hope you can all hear me. I'm the HR advisor at the Chamber, so I'm here to deal with everything staffing and people related. Main thing I'm going to talk about today is the coronavirus job retention scheme. Obviously a hot topic at the minute with everything going on. And as you know, it'll cover 80% of your wages of your PAYE staff if you need to furlough them because of the virus. The main details are already well out in the public domain in about how you go about claiming it back through HMRC through a portal that's not yet live. When that's live, that portal will be headline news. So what I thought I'd do is just pick out some of the key points from it today for everybody. And then if anybody has any questions, I'll do my best to answer them at the end. So the headlines from the scheme are effectively, the aim is to get it up and running before the end of April. Now, the 80% for your PAYE staff, it's based on the higher of either the earnings in the same pay period in the previous year or the average earnings in the previous 12 months or less if they've worked for less. Employees taken on after the 1st of March 2020 unfortunately don't qualify for the scheme. Now, that's an anti-fraud measure by HMRC to stop you employing your aunties, your uncles, your brothers, your sisters, etc. Businesses can re-employ people, though, however, who've been made redundant since the 1st of March. So you can re-employ them and then furlough them. And to qualify for the payment, the minimum time you must furlough your employees for is 3 weeks. Then they can come off furlough. That means that you can't rotate staff weekly between furlough and non-furlough due to the minimum being a 3-week period. Another valid point to make is employees on furlough leave can't do any work for you. However, they can do things such as volunteering, training, providing it doesn't generate any income for their employer. So if there's any volunteering that you'd like them to take part in, please encourage it. Or if there's any training that you require them to do that can be done at home, now is probably a good time to get them to carry that out. Now, aside from the coronavirus stuff, I also offer other HR support on everything HR. It's obviously died down at the minute. Be that you need your contracts looking at, be that you need advice on your disciplinary procedures, be it you need somebody to look over your policies, anything people related, you know, I'm the guy to come speak to. And the other thing I'm going to mention is something to do with additional support for chamber members, which is through the Quest system and your 4 services. Now, they've got their own HR, health and safety and legal tax advice line. If you are a chamber member, you can contact them on 01455 852037, and I'm sure we'll get that number out to you at the end. As well as that, there's a website you can access which has got loads of templated documents around HR, around health and safety, and around legal aspects as well. So it's just to remind everybody, all the chamber members, they do have that vital resource available as well. If anyone's got any questions, like I say, I'll do my best to answer them for you. And I'm available as well. I'm working from home every day, so you know, you can contact me after this should you feel you don't want to ask a question in front of the group. Thanks for your time and stay safe, everybody. Thank you.
Hi Rob, do you want to go next?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is going to be really short and sweet compared with the rest of the guys there. Absolutely commendable efforts. I'm Rob Lawley. I'm the head of international trade for Staffordshire. It might seem like a strange time to be talking about international trade, and I'm going to let my colleague Wendy talk about the export documentation side and everything that we offer chamber members and businesses alike. But obviously you're all aware that this terrible situation started off in Wuhan province in China. We've seen a lot of companies that are experiencing problems with their supply chain coming in from overseas. So this really is just a gentle reminder that, you know, we're here to help companies trade internationally. So if you're experiencing problems in your supply chain, then maybe we can find you alternative suppliers. We have access to all the consulates, the embassies, the high commissions, even the chambers of commerce overseas. So it's just a reminder there, you know, don't forget about us. God willing, we'll all get through this situation and we'll still be here. We're still offering a full service on Department for International Trade. So just bear with us, okay? And we'll try and sort you out as soon as we possibly can.
Brilliant, Rob. Thank you very much. And Wendy? Wendy, do you just want to unmute your mic?
Hi.
Fantastic, thank you.
Hi. Hi, I'm Wendy Hall, International Trade Advisor, working in Rob's team. I manage the export documentation desk. Just to let you know that Staffordshire Chamber is still offering full export doc support. We've got our lovely export documentation officers working from home and providing full support there. So they're still available if you want to talk to them about any export documentation requirements. So please give them a call, or alternatively you can speak to me. There's plenty of us within the team still working from home and can offer any advice or support. What I thought of mentioning was, I mean, there's nothing really much we can talk about on the COVID other than working from supporting our export documentation from home. But what I thought about mentioning was about post-transition planning. It's still going ahead. From what we can gather, that's not moving despite all what's going on. So, you know, I'm sure most of you are already planning all this and getting things into place, but just to give you a few stats here, HMRC, they estimated that about 130,000 businesses only trade with the EU at the moment. So they will be dealing with customs and paperwork for the first time. So it's really about, we can give you advice on that, how to get prepared, how to be prepared, the possible documentation requirements you need to consider. We can go through all of this with you. Also, one thing also you need to consider is customs declarations. They will go up from 70 million to 350 million. So that's going to be a lot of extra customs declarations needed. Because at the moment, of course, you don't need to do customs declarations if you're only trading in the EU. So businesses need to be aware of customs declarations if you're not already doing it. If you're already trading with the rest of the world, then fine, you pretty much know what you're doing. But if you're not, then, you know, it's really about talking about being prepared for paperwork, customs declarations. You need to be aware as a business of your responsibilities and what information you need to provide to your freight forwarder or customs broker. On that note, the Chambers of Commerce will be offering a new service to do customs declarations for companies because of the increase in companies needing it. So we will be offering that as a service to companies. So if it happens that your freight forwarder cannot do customs declarations, then we will be offering that. We don't want to take business away from freight forwarders, of course we don't, but that's something that the Chambers of Commerce are doing nationally. Not all chambers, but some, and we are one of them. So we will be offering advice and training on that to companies. We can give advice over the phone about the things that you need to think about, the information you need to provide, so customs declarations can be made properly and correctly. You need to make sure that you're compliant, and yeah, making sure that to avoid any hold-ups, because of course with these new customs declarations for EU trade, things could get held up. So it's about giving you advice on making sure the paperwork's right, understanding the process, being HMRC compliant, and we can help you with that. You know, we can give you advice over the phone. Other things we can talk about is about on Incoterms. You'll find with EU trade, you might find that your EU buyer may ask for different Incoterms, such as ex-works and FCA, the implications around those Incoterms. We can talk to you about where risk passes from, you know, responsibility, cost passes from seller to buyer. We can go through that with you. So you might find your EU buyer, or if you're importing, your supplier may be asking for different Incoterms, and the what that means for you as a trader. We can discuss all of that with you. Also, classifying your goods. You haven't had to think about that maybe for export or import with EU trade. Again, we can help with classifying your goods, making sure your tariff code is correct, why it's important, what it's needed. Talking about import duties and how to calculate costs, and all of that we can guide you through. Origin, that's going to be a big thing coming up now, and the relevant paperwork involved. We can talk to you about that. We offer training on all of this, but equally, whilst we're all working from home, we can give you advice. We are going to be, all the training that we do a suite of courses, and they will have been postponed until September, but we are going to be offering some taster sessions that we'll be doing through webinars, and we plan to do those very soon. So they will be advertised on the Staffordshire Chamber website, of course. So I think, I know there's not a lot there on COVID apart from the documentation still in full force, but these are things that perhaps you can start thinking about if you're not already, and we're there to support you.
Fantastic, Wendy. Thank you very much. Jody, if you want to go next.
Sorry, so muting. Hi, everybody. I'm Jody Fox. I'm an account manager based at the Staffordshire Chambers. I hope you're all doing okay. And obviously, in these unprecedented times, it can be quite stressful, and it can be quite difficult to find the information that you may want to get your hands on. There's a lot of advice on the government website. Like I say, you can follow links, and it can sometimes be difficult to understand it. My role at the Chamber is to help and support businesses in any way that I can. Also letting them know, obviously, how the Chamber can help and support them. And it's no different now. We're going through COVID-19, and my job will still be the same, is to support members, but also non-members alike who may need extra information. I can help by trying to find the answers that you're looking for, especially around the job retention schemes, the CBILS loan, and the information that has come out about the small business grants, about whether you may be eligible. Some of the wording can be quite confusing, so I can obviously help to just break that down for you and point you in the right direction of where you might need to go. As Joe said, obviously as a Chamber member, you do have the Quest services, which can help you with HR, tax, legal and health and safety. You can obviously get over 700 documents online. If you're not sure of what your login details are, then please contact myself or your account manager, and we can obviously supply those details to you so that you can log on. As Joe said, the telephone number for Quest is 01455 852 037, and their advisors are still there and available to take calls. Obviously, sort of during this time, I think it is important for you all to stay connected with those businesses and follow the support that is there. Ring the Chamber on the usual number, 01782 202 222. And you can obviously select the option that's more relevant to yourself, whether it's funding and finance or any other services. And obviously myself and some of the other guys who are on this chat are there and available to speak to you. So like we said, we are open. We're still just working remotely. but you can still come through to us. I've had quite a lot of questions from people asking, you know, should I be open? Can I be open? What should I do? And we can obviously help and find that advice and send that to you so that you know that you're doing the right thing for your business, your employees, and obviously helping to keep everybody safe and stop the spread of the virus, really. So if you do need any help, then don't hesitate to contact any of us. We're here to support you and your businesses.
Thank you, Jody. Brilliant. That was absolutely fantastic, guys. I hope you all got sort of an idea of what everybody does within the chamber that's here today. We're going to do a quick Q&A, so it does take a little while for the questions to all come through. So just bear with me while I get the questions ready for everybody, and then we can get everybody to answer them. So we've got one question already. This is for Matt. This is for you. So it's from Gavin Nixon. Gavin Nixon has asked, we've heard mixed messages about small business grants and whether they are available to businesses that are on an all-inclusive rental packages. I've heard that if landlords contact local authorities to let them know who the occupiers are, then they can become eligible. This really needs final confirmation because there are so many SMBs missing out of this simply due to being on all-inclusive rental packages. It becomes ridiculous that landlords will be the ones benefiting from this when it is actually designed to assist small businesses. It really needs a review and clarification. Can you help?
Totally agree. Short, sharp answer is, well, I think we're going to get a lot of inquiries about this because it is subject to you being the ratepayer of the person or the business getting the rate relief. What we'll do, Gavin, is we'll send your details up to the higher powers that be. At the moment, what we're being told is that any queries regarding that is to just make contact with your local authorities. We do have the switchboard numbers for all the local authorities in the Staffordshire area that we can forward out and send out to everybody if that would help. My fear is that until early next week, when their systems are all up in place and ready, we're not really going to get any defined answers to that yet. But yeah, it's definitely on the radar. It's something that needs considering. Totally agree with you. The landlord shouldn't be getting the rent rebates really, or the grants. It should be for the trading businesses, but it's just obviously something that's become apparent since these times. So thanks for the question. We'll do what we can our side, but keep in touch with your local authority and get final guidance from them is probably the best advice at the moment.
Brilliant. Gavin's just responded, just saying thank you, and that if you could share the details with him, and when you know Matt, that'd be great. Brilliant. Has anybody else got any questions at all? I know that sometimes the Q&A can be a little bit slow, so I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes just to make sure. Just want to check again that nobody's got any questions and answers for the team here at the Chamber. So, Alistair Gregory, CBIL loan scheme, personal guarantee is being asked by my bank to use of this scheme. Any expectations of that? Any expectations of that changing? And that probably goes to Matt again.
Yeah, a lot of the calls that we're getting at the moment, Alistair, is around the CBILS loan scheme, and because of the nature of how that's doing, it's a very difficult thing for them to change. I think pressure that's going up the line through the British Business Bank and ultimately up to the UK government will potentially, they'll look at trying to do things differently. But I personally think it would be very difficult for them to change that. What's being asked is that a bank will lend, I don't know, £250,000 to a business. It's whether the government will then secure that full £250,000 if anything goes wrong with the business at a later stage. So it is a hot topic. It's probably not going to be something that's sorted out sooner rather than later, unfortunately. But We are, as a chamber, filing, that's one of our comments and concerns that we've sent up through the British Chambers of Commerce into the British Business Bank. We've also got good contacts with the British Business Bank through the activity that they're doing under the Midlands Energy Investment Fund and the providers that they've got under there. So it has been raised. In answer to your question, I don't think anything's going to be done as in this week or next week. We may see changes at a later date, but my fear would be that it would be too late for that anyway. So we'll keep an eye on it for you.
Brilliant. So a question from Dan Slynn. As a UK registered company but a subsidiary of a Dutch organisation, are we still able to gain government support on furloughing of employees? And that's probably going to Joe.
Yeah, that one's coming to me. I was just in the process of typing out the answer. All UK-wide employees with a PAYE scheme will be eligible. So it includes the public sector, local authorities, charities. So as long as you've got a PAYE scheme for your staff, you'll be eligible.
Well, thank you, Joe.
No worries.
Okay, so we've got a question from Rob Thompson. A question around staff furlough. Is it based on the last 12 months' wages? What if they've just gone to part-time? Will it be able to reclaim 80% of lower of what we pay them versus the average? Joe, that's probably to you again.
What one was that, sorry, Laura?
So the question around furlough, if it's based on the last 12 months' wages, what if they've just gone to part-time? Will they be able to claim 80% of lower of what we pay them versus the average?
It's the higher of the two things I spelled out before, so it'll be an average of the last 12 months in the or the earnings in the same pay period the previous year, whichever is higher, but it's capped at £2,500 a month.
Wonderful, thank you. Just having a look at the chat just to see if there's any questions that haven't been answered. Is anybody's question not been answered? If it has gone into the chat, just want to check if there's any more questions that you could pop through to the actual Q&A section rather than the chat section. Just give you a couple of minutes just in case there is anybody that wants to.
Whilst everybody's waiting, it's okay. I'll just answer the question. Ross sent a question through about is the potential that some of the high street banks will have different or easier criteria to get the CBILS loan? The answer simply is probably yes. Each bank will have slightly different criteria, and it will be predominantly judged on their appetite to lend to you as a business in whatever sector you're doing or the strength of your business. And in normal times, the banks will have different or graded lending criteria. So yes, they may do. However, the terms of the scheme, because it's a government scheme that's facilitated by the British Business Bank, the overall criteria will be the same across all of the lenders, but they may have slightly less. Some banks might prefer a retail sector to a leisure sector, and that's the only difference that you'll probably see. But I hope that makes sense. But fundamentally, the high street banks will all have a very similar lending criteria.
Okay, so we've got another one for you here, Joe. John Hewitt, when shall we be able to enter the details of staff and wages into the furlough scheme in order to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, the portal isn't live yet. As I'm sure you can appreciate, as soon as this job retention scheme goes live on HMRC, you're going to have over 100,000 businesses trying to access it. So they're hurriedly building it in the background so it can handle the traffic. We've been told that the portal should be ready on HMRC at the end of March, start of April, and they hope to get the first payments made within the last few weeks of April.
Well, thank you, Joe. Just check if there's any more questions.
Just another thing on the furlough scheme, sorry to interrupt, Laura, is
No,
when it does finally go live, I anticipate it will be headline news, so you know, and once it's live, I'm sure you'll know about it.
So I think we've got another question for you, Matt. Just trying to get some clarification on rates on my business rate above value. is 22,250. How do I go about it and qualify?
So is that from a retail sector or non-retail sector? If it's non-retail, so any other business other than retail, leisure or hospitality, if your rateable value is above 15,000, we're not aware of any scheme to get any grants at the moment because you don't qualify for the small business rate relief. If you're in the retail, leisure or hospitality sector and you're between 15 and the 51,000, then there's the potential for the 25,000 pound grant. So it hinges on what sector you're in.
So he's just said he's from a retail, from a car showroom, Matt.
Okay, so retail, so yeah, if your rateable value is between 15 and 51,000, then as long as you're an eligible business, there's no reason why the 25,000 would be available. Again, your local authority, wherever you're based, will be writing to you, we hope, fingers crossed, early next week.
Wonderful. Any other questions that we've got? Any other questions at all?
I've just seen one come in the chat from Carl. Is the furlough scheme wording that the staff should not work or must not work? What if employees pay 20% to top up the staff wages? Surely they ought to do some work. Now, funnily enough, I was speaking to some employment solicitors about this earlier in the week. And what they've said is if someone is furloughed, they cannot do any paid work for your company. So as I stated before, unfortunately, it's a situation where they shouldn't be doing work for you. I mean, anything that is generating your business income would be classed as doing work. You know, replying to the odd email, keeping things ticking over would be fine. If you're actively trading, that's when you're going to get yourself into bother with HMRC. With regards to the 20% top up, that's up to each individual business as to whether they want to do that or not. You can furlough people off and pay them the 80% of the wages, up to a cap of 2,500. If you want to make the additional up, or the employment contract you have states that you have to make the additional up, you can do, although there's no obligation to. So you can furlough and pay a basic 80% wage.
Fantastic. Joe, we've got another question for you. Can directors be furloughed?
Now, that's a very good question that I've been asked a lot the other day. And the answer is, I don't know. Nobody knows at the minute. So I'm waiting to hear more on that. It's not clear. Sorry, Jody?
Yeah, the information on that's been released today. If directors pay themselves through PAYE, then they are eligible to furlough themselves. They would fall under that scheme rather than the self-employed. Yeah, so they can, as long as they pay PAYE, they can claim up to 80% of their earnings.
Yeah, but that also, just as a caveat to that, that also means your business can't actively trade if your director's furloughed. Yeah. So you'll have to do the numbers as to whether you can generate more income continuing as a director yourself, or whether it's best to furlough and take 80% of your PAYE salary.
Wonderful. We've got another furlough question here, Joe. Can the employer ask for 1 day's holiday to top up furlough to 100%?
Yes, yeah, you can, but you'll need to get your staff to agree to it. So it's subject to, you know, your general employment law. If you create a document that advises them that they've been furloughed and you're happy to pay 100%, however you want a certain amount of holiday, that's allowed. That is allowed, but you need your staff to agree to it. In fact, that's what a large online gambling company in Stoke have done. They've guaranteed their staff's wages for 5 months. However, as part of the deal, they have to give up 3 weeks of their annual leave for the year.
Brilliant, fantastic, Joe. I noticed we've run out of questions. Has anybody else got any questions at all? Give it just a minute, just in case any of you have got some but are just typing it out. No, there doesn't appear to be any more questions unless anybody's got. I'll give you a couple more seconds just before we finish today. No, there doesn't appear to be any more questions, and fantastic. Just want to thank you all for attending today. You will be receiving an email afterwards, just with some email addresses on, should you wish to contact people directly about anything that we've discussed today, as well as a quick recording of this, so you'll be able to see what questions were answered and what the answers were that were given. Can I just remind you all that we are doing Twitter every day, 11 till 12, and that's #StaffsChamberChat. Where you can ask members of the team issues, etc., around coronavirus and anything to do with the chamber as well. Oh, I've just got just a quick chat. Brilliant, fantastic. So we're just getting some great feedback there. That's it, everybody. We look forward to hopefully doing this again soon for you. And again, any questions that you've got, don't hesitate to contact us at the chamber directly. Thank you very much.